Okay, so we're back at it again. We're at AMC. We just saw one called, I think it was just called Robin Hood, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was just called Robin Hood.
Right, which is kind of like, it's Robin Hood placed in, I guess, kind of a future, a possible future. Kind of like Into the Badlands, where it's a mixture of the past and the future. Which is kind of the way they were originally going to do the first Conan, but I don't know.
I kind of got a vibe almost like the Baz Luhrmann Romeo and Juliet, where it was like, it was obviously set in the Middle Ages because it was, you know, during the Crusades, but then like some of the clothing was modern and like some of the like way they talked was modern.
The technology, the thinking,
Right, so that kind of stuff was kind of like, so it was kind of an interesting juxtaposition. That was kind of the vibe I got from it too. And like you said, the original Conan was supposed to be a little bit like
Yeah. What'd you think of it?
It wasn't bad actually. It was funny because when I saw the trailer, I thought, well, that looks kind of like silly or kind of like dumb as hell. It was like, but it was a bit grittier, a little bit darker than I was expecting. You know, it's not a fantastic movie, but it's not boring. You know, it kind of moved along at a good clip. It was good, pretty well paced.
Yeah,
You know?
I'd have to say that, you know, I think the best thing about the movie is that the acting was good. All the performances were solid. There wasn't any dud actors in it.
I liked Friar Tuck the best. They needed to do more.
It also had a very tight edit. Other than that, the movie was an allegory for, you know, because they put a lot of modern thinking in it. What the story is really about is an allegory. It's about a British soldier who goes off to war. While he was out, his government screwed him over and took his land. So later on, he hooks up with an ISIS fighter, and they find corruption in the government, and they form Antifa to try to overthrow it. You see the riot shields, the hoods with the red masks and everything. But we know the world doesn't work that way. You overthrow one government, and next thing you know, you have 20 fighting factions to fill the power vacuum. So there was a lot of messaging in here that has nothing to do really with the original version of Robin Hood. In fact, calling this Robin Hood is kind of a problem in a way, because it puts certain expectations in the viewer, you know what I mean, of what he's getting ready to see, and that's not what you're going to see here.
It kind of struck me as a prequel to the more familiar Robin Hood story, because like at the end of it,
that's right,
he's kind of leading them all into Sherwood Forest and stuff, but this is like what happened before that. So it's almost kind of like a prequel to the
and you're not dealing with the first, you're not dealing with the sheriff of Nottingham that you know.
Right.
You don't see that one until the end of the movie. Other than that, kind of a vapid, shallow bullshit, really.
It was all right. It was entertaining. It wasn't boring or anything like that.
Trying to be more than what it really was, though.
Yeah. It was all right.
Yeah.
It was all right.
Crap. I thought it was crap. Okay, it's Jana and I. We're back at AMC. We just got done seeing one called The Green Book, right?
Yeah, Green Book.
Green Book. And it was a story about this guy named Dr. Don Shirley. And he's this master pianist, genius. And he's got to do this, and he's a black guy. And he's got to do this tour through the segregated South back in 1962.
Yes.
So he hires this local bouncer from the Copacabana.
Kind of a mobbed up Italian dude. He's not in the mob, but he's like, you know.
Yeah, he's quite a Goomba type, you know. So he takes him through on this tour through the segregated South with all these crazy ass Jim Crow laws, and kind of acts as his bodyguard. And it's kind of a tale of an adventure. What I really liked about this one, I really loved this movie.
This was an excellent movie.
This is going to be one of the good ones of the month, I can tell you. It's a story of like The Odd Couple. If you ever watch that old series, The Odd Couple, you got this real kind of like cultured, super sophisticated guy who's kind of an ambiguous sexuality, and he's trying to get along with this just like total working class
Italian dude
dude from the Bronx, and it's hilarious.
Yeah, I think the relationship between the two of them, which is like the heart of this movie. This is based on a true story.
Yeah, it's a true story.
But the relationship between the two guys is it's really what makes this movie good. It's just their relationship is just so it's just delightful. It's just and you totally buy it. You totally buy like this developing friendship with two of because they're completely different types, and it's almost kind of like a road movie, buddy movie type thing. But I really like it. And actually the theater was mostly full, even though it's like middle of Wednesday afternoon.
Yeah, and everybody loved it. It's I'd call it a feel-good movie with some suspense and some adventure. They're going through the Old South, and I was born in '69. And I can remember the cars that they were showing. Growing up as a little kid, I remember those cars, and I remember a lot of those when locations looked that way. Of course, this version of the South is gone, but I can remember it. MTV changed it forever. After MTV, that was the end.
Like I said,
of that South.
Yeah, so it was set in 1962, so it's very, very old South. Where it's and it's funny because, well, not funny, but I mean, because he's so sophisticated, so you sold all these albums and everything like that, and so he goes and he plays for like all these really wealthy people, but then like they won't even like let him. They won't let him eat there. Yeah, he can't stay in the same hotel as his driver and like the other guys in his band and stuff.
He's a real oddball, He's got a throne in his office, and he lives in these exclusive places, and he can't really fit in with the white people of the time, and he can't fit in with the black people either. He's like his own being.
Yeah, so it's like about his loneliness too, I guess. Yeah. But so I think that's kind of what makes the friendship between the two guys work because, Viggo Mortensen's character, he played Tony Lip.
Tony Lip.
That's like his nickname. Yeah. That's not his
Tony. All Italian guys named Tony.
Yeah, it looked like honestly when I was looking at the end credits, it looked like the Tony. What was his last name in the movie? Like
Valley was Valley was the name that he that he wanted him.
It looked like someone with that same last name wrote the script, so I'm assuming it's his son, or his grandson, perhaps. Actually wrote this because, like I said, it's based on a true story, and they actually showed photos of the real people like at the end and kind of said what happened to them and stuff. Both of them passed away in 2013, I believe it said.
Yeah, and at the end of the movie, they show you pictures of who they really look like. And evidently after this little tour happened, they remained friends for life. And when you see the actual picture of Dr. Shirley, you go, yeah, they got it spot on. That's really exactly, did. When I first saw him, I says, man, there's nobody like that existed, the big dashikis and all this sitting on a throne. No, they showed it. There he is.
They showed like a picture of his apartment and stuff. He lived like above Carnegie Hall, like back in the 60s. And he had like all these fabulous, he was like fabulously wealthy, I guess, because of his, because he was such a virtuoso pianist. He was classically trained actually, but then he kind of went in a little more of a pop sort of direction. But he did classical music as well.
Yeah, we can't spoil all of it though. Just a very recommended. I recommend the movie. It's a great movie.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's like it's really funny.
Hilarious.
It's like I said, it's like a really feel good movie, and like just all the interactions and conversations the two guys. It's just it's awesome.
And this adventure that they go on. It's a trip.
It's an awesome movie. Yeah,
all right,
really good. Recommended.
Yeah. Okay, we're back at AMC. Jenny and I just got done seeing Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Wreck-It Ralph 2.
Yeah, Wreck-It Ralph 2. Okay.
I actually did not see the first one.
No, I mean neither.
But like I said, I don't think you need to see the first one.
No, it's a good standalone. I didn't see the first one, and I was like, whatever. But the premise of the story is very much along the lines of Tron, slightly rebooted. You have 80s video game characters who would be programs inside of 80s video games in an arcade, and because one of the machine breaks, they have to go into the internet to buy a steering wheel
part. The part for Sugar Rush, which is the game. Vanellope is the little girl, the main character. She's one of the racers in the game.
And they are aware of an outside world, but they've never been to the internet itself. And they get there and have this big adventure. There's a bunch of little morality tales, a bunch of little values. They make fun of Disney characters and Disney tropes quite a bit.
It is. It's very self-satirizing, which I thought was very funny.
Very out of character for Disney Corporation. I would say where the Nutcracker failed, I would say this movie succeeded. Seems like Disney's losing the ability to tell a traditional story, but this was pretty good. This one was a contemporary story, you know, and a lot of little Easter eggs that ex-Jenners would know what it is that they're talking about. This one was good. I'd say it's up there with Dr. Seuss. Different, but
yeah, like I said,
as good as the Grinch.
This one had like a sense of humor about itself. Like I said, I particularly liked all the
Disney princess
satire of the
stories.
Disney princesses. That was very, very funny. Like all when they were all in the room with the little Vanellope character, and they were talking about starting to sing, and she's like, "What the fuck is going on?"
You have to know the Disney Corporation and Disney, you know, and know how they handle Disney princesses and the culture around that company to get it, you know, it was pretty good. In fact, one of the characters in this film, as soon as we saw the character, we think it's somebody we know who works for Disney, who this may have been based around. It's hard to tell. That looked a lot like a friend of ours. It was
based off of her.
Of our friend that works at Disney.
Yeah, so I wasn't sure, but we both thought the same exact thing.
As soon as I see her, I go, "That's Crystal."
Yeah, I thought it was her. I thought they based the character off her. It looks almost exactly like her.
It almost sounds like her. The hair, the way she acted, and I was like, somebody there at that studio knows Crystal.
Maybe they do, yeah. Maybe
because she's very well known in Disney.
Yeah, she plays a lot of characters.
Plays a lot of characters there. If you have kids, you want to see this one. This one won't drive you crazy. It's a good story.
It's a really nice animation. It's got like it's a really sweet story at the middle of it, like Wreck-It Ralph and their Vanellope, their little friendship and stuff. And you know, like I said, the animation's really nice. And there's like a lot of really funny stuff that adults will get, like a lot of like dark web jokes and you know, like when they go inside the internet, like all the little pop-ups and all this other kind of stuff. Like, you know, Randy Housewives want to meet you. Really? Wow.
YouTube and YouTubers.
So it's like, you know, does never read the comments, that kind of stuff. So it's like, it's very funny. It's like a, you know, like almost like a satire type of movie. But yeah, I thought it was really cute. It's funny because you kind of thought you were going to like it.
Yeah, I didn't think I was going to like it. But once it started, I was about 5 minutes into it. I was like, okay, I see where it's going.
Yeah.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, it was. It was a cute movie.